welcome to the Living Hope Thought for the Day. Today's thought for the day comes from the book of Ezra. Ezra has been involved in God's work in a number of ways. He's probably the one who God used to write the book of Chronicles. But now, in a little book all on its own, you have the story of the man of God who has come back alongside people like Nehemiah to rebuild Jerusalem and to establish a work of God in that very holy and special place. Now, he has a number of exhortations to bring and a number of issues to raise. But I just want to raise the issue that he addresses in chapter 9. What he's actually addressing in chapter 9 is perhaps quite a complicated issue. But he's really saying, look, what has happened over the years is that God's people have started marrying people from other nations, and this has actually caused a lot of idolatry because they brought their foreign gods in to Israel, and consequently pure worship to the living God alone has been affected and damaged. Now, in fact, what he's doing is he's addressing a situation that Solomon had allowed many years before. Solomon, in his highest moments, serving God, everything seemed to be going well. The Queen of Sheba comes and sees everything that he's done and feels the half has not been told her. Things are looking so good for so much of the time, but Solomon, to use a phrase, takes his eye off the ball. He begins to fall astray in ignoring the fact that all these wives that he's acquiring, they're just bringing in false gods. There's loads of idolatry, and the nation is getting corrupted. Ezra is making a very challenging plea. He's saying you need to put away those wives. He's saying you need to be utterly clear about who you marry and the impact and influence that a bad marriage can bring. Now, you might look at that and think, well, however do we apply that today? Does that mean that people who've married non-Christians should put away those wives? I don't think that is a practical response, and I don't think it's a response that would in fact endear us to the community around. But I think the principle is very important, that we are called as the people of God to not be unequally yoked. This is the phrase that Paul is later to use when talking to the Corinthian Christians. As God's people, in our business dealings, in our relationships, in our marriages, we need to be very careful that the choices we make do not lead us to compromise and do not, in fact, water down and dilute the faith and the trust that we have in God. Now, Ezra is not unaware, I'm sure, of the repercussions of his exhortation, but he's not afraid to make the point. He's not afraid to just be very clear about what's acceptable and what's unacceptable, what's going to promote health and spirituality in a nation and what's going to corrupt it and cause, in fact, just a shadow of a life with God instead of the reality of a close walk with the Lord. He says, we've forsaken your commandments, we've gone astray, and we need to put things right. Well, I feel the very least that we can do is from where we are now that we seek to make decisions in marriage, in life, where we do not compromise, but we choose according to the will of God. Not be unequally yoked, but walking together in the fear of the Lord. God bless you.